Welcome everyone. As you may know, my name is Hamish from ATech, and we're here today to try some crazy stuff. I was supposed to do this last night, as you know, but I've been so busy with my business, and everyone wants open source AI now. So that's exactly what we do at ATech AI. We actually help businesses adopt AI organically, if you like, because having a user's cost for your AI is not really ideal, especially when you get rate limited and issues always happen with cloud. But this model might solve all of that because, as if you're not aware right now, most of the open source models in the world are actually like the open source models are either European or Asian. And I know that's not a problem for most of the world, but here in Australia, it can be a bit of a problem. So, especially for businesses trying to adopt on a large scale. I totally understand that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the models that are international. In fact, I use Quen, Mistral, and many other models on a daily basis. So yeah, I totally see the potential here. But for businesses, they may have been a bit hesitant to adopt open source AI because it's not from a company that they trust. Let's put it that way. And I guess that's understandable because many people in this open source AI world are still trying to keep up with what the hell's going on. So I totally understand all of that. And I'm trying to be as neutral as possible here. I'm not having a go at anyone or anything. I'm just trying to lay out the facts. However, OpenAI yesterday, they kind of gave us a little bit of a blessing, if you like, because we now have something called GPT OSS. Now, as I mentioned before, I use Quen and Mistral and many other models on a daily basis. So this has a lot to live up to be very honest. Like Quen 3 Coda is an amazing model. Kimi K2 is fantastic as well at developing. And I find Mistral and even Gemma from Google is really good at writing. So I'm very curious to see how this is actually going to how this is going to play out. But anyway, what we're looking at here is GPT OSS, Open Source Superior. I don't know what the SS there stands for, but basically it's 120 billion parameter and a 20 billion parameter model. And they're trying to push the frontier of open weight reasoning models. Of course, yes, it is a reasoning model. But as we'll see later on, because I have done a little bit of testing and I was quite shocked, but you'll be surprised to see how interesting this test actually becomes. But anyway, so we're releasing GPT OSS 120B and GPT OSS 20B, two state-of-the-art open weight large language models that deliver strong real-world performance at low cost. And it's available under the flexible Apache 2.0 license, meaning that yes, we can use it for commercial purposes however we wish, and we can fine-tune it and really make it ours. So this is genuinely our AI now. We can turn this into whatever we like. These models outperform similarly sized open models on reasoning tasks, demonstrate strong tool use capabilities, and are optimized for efficient deployment on consumer hardware. They were trained using a mix of reinforcement learning and techniques, informed by OpenAI's most advanced internal models, including O3 and other frontier systems. It says that the 120B model achieves near parity with OpenAI's O4 Mini on core reasoning benchmarks, while running efficiently, I should say, on a single 80 gig GPU. That's great, but obviously, like the consumer won't have that level of hardware available to them. But I can understand from a business perspective, perhaps just buying one NVIDIA H100 would do the job for you, although that is still quite a pricey graphics card, if I'm honest with you. From a consumer standpoint, I guess, you can get 32 gig cards nowadays, the 5090, for example, RTX 5090. Even if you put like three of those together, you'll have enough, but that's still three GPUs that you need. So saying that it's going to run on a single GPU, yes, they're not, false advertising there, but they kind of have to be a bit more clear in terms of what GPUs that this can actually run on. Just from a consumer point of view, I'm saying. The GPT OSS 20B model delivers similar results to OpenAI's O3 Mini on common benchmarks and can run on edge devices with just 16 gigs of memory, making it ideal for on-device use cases, local inference, or rapid iteration without costly infrastructure. Okay, this is where I have a little bit of a beef with this because 16 gig of memory is way too vague in the year 2025. Do we need RAM? Do we need VRAM? And obviously we do need VRAM. That makes the most logical sense here. 16 gigs of VRAM, however, you can get that on a single card these days. That's fine, no issues at all. But that's just enough, I would say, to even load the model. It's like 11 gigs in size by the time you quantize it or whatever, but you still need to increase the context length, don't you? Like the context window. If you don't know what I'm talking about here, if I just open up my Ollama, we actually have this fantastic new settings here where you can actually increase the context length of your conversations with your LLMs, which means that it can determine how much of your conversation local LLMs remember and use to generate the responses. Now, by default, this has always been at 4,000 tokens. So if you ever felt like, oh, I've used offline AI before, but it wasn't very good. Like, after a few messages, it just got really dumb. This is why. Because the context length was, at its lowest or minimum point. So it only can retain a certain level of knowledge about the conversation you just had. We keep increasing this, obviously, we can do that, no problem. But what it also increases is your computing power consumption. So there's really a big trade-off here that you have to have. So if you are going to do this completely offline and have it on your systems, you need to really consider, okay, am I going to run the 20 billion model and or the 120 billion? In fact, if I'm going to run any of them, what context length am I going to run them at? 32K is a really good sweet spot. I quite like 64 and 128K as well. Qwen 3 Coda can go up to 256 natively. So 128K is absolutely perfect for Qwen 3 Coda. But again, you would have to have, and this is the 30 billion version I'm talking about, by the way, the 30 billion Qwen 3 Coda. Even on a 32 gig Max Studio, you can still run that, but I have to quantize it down to IQ1 in order to run it at about 64K context window. You can do it at 128, but it starts using CPU and it starts to slow down a little bit. I fully offloaded it on GPU though, on a Mac Studio with 32 gigs of RAM. I can get 32,000 tokens context. So that's for the Qwen 3 Coda 30 billion model. I know this is very technical, but yes, we will keep the live stream on the channel afterwards so you guys can watch it again. But again, yes, it's technical, but this is the stuff that we need to understand now if we want to really get ahead in the age of open source artificial intelligence. I mean, this is the biggest democratization of any industry that I've seen for quite some time. And I've been speaking to a few people saying that, oh, open source tech has been around for so long, like, everyone's been doing it. Yeah, I get that. Open source technology as a whole has been around for so many years, centuries, if not. But AI, on the other hand, is another story. Because this can become anything you want now, like anything you want. If you had the right skill set and the right knowledge or the right resources at your disposal, you can really do some amazing stuff and either benefit mankind or the latter. Hopefully the former is what you decide to do here as subscribers of our channel. And thank you very much for subscribing, by the way. It really does mean a lot. And I know that we have like a lot of videos to come out, by the way, but I've just been so busy with, with everything that's happening at ATech. But yes, we will definitely try to have a bit more of a consistent flow. If not edited videos, I'll try my best to do more live streams so we can edit them later. But yeah, we'll try and keep it consistent. Anyway, you probably also noticed, by the way, I know I'm going off on multiple tangents, but this is what I do in my day-to-day operations as well. So you just have to keep up. But you may have noticed that I'm talking about a Mac Studio, but I'm actually on a Windows computer. So what's going on there? Well, let me see if I can show you here what is going on. So we actually have right in front of us a Minisforum AI X1 Pro. It happened. So yes, we actually have a AI X1 Pro here in the studio and doing some amazing testing on it right now. And it does have 96 gigs of RAM with the Ryzen AI 9 HX370 clocked to 2 gigahertz. I still feel like it's a bit slow. So we may, look at increasing that eventually. But yeah, this is a beast of a computer, by the way. I've had it for about 2 weeks now and it is an absolute beast of a machine. It really, really is. And I think if people are really interested in this computer, then I might consider doing a giveaway. But stay tuned for that. Okay. And you can buy this computer from us as well now, by the way. More details will drop on that very, very soon. But okay, let's get back to the task at hand. So running this on 16 gigs of memory, you can do it, but yes, it activates 4 billion parameters to respond. That's fine. But still, you need the processing power to even compute that. And for Open Web UI users, by the way, we can do this. I was trying out Canva, but my access token keeps expiring for some stupid reason. I've contacted Canva multiple times and they're trying to solve the problem. But anyway, if you go down to your settings in Web UI and then scroll down to, what is that? Okay, it's reasoning effort. That's fine. And scroll down to num_ctx. That's actually the value that we're changing here. So that's the context length. And Ollama just made it super easy for us to change on the fly, which is good. But if you are a web UI user, then this is how you would change it yourself, actually. Yeah, you still need a computer that's around $2,000 to $3,000 minimum, at minimum, US dollars, to actually make sure that you've got the hardware to actually run these models properly. At least the 20 billion version anyway. When you get to the 120B, obviously you need to spend a bit more than that. But I would still say, even if you are spending money on this, it would be no more than 10,000 US dollars, I would say, and you could probably do a good job. But don't quote me on that. I might be absolutely wrong. So yeah, I don't want to get trolled about that in the comments, please. But yeah, this is the level of education we now need to give ourselves to understand, okay, so if I want to run this model and I want to run on this context window or this context length, this is the hardware that I'm going to need. And if we don't start doing that now, then, we're going to be screwed. Okay. So both models also perform strongly on tool use, few-shot function calling, COT reasoning, chain of thought reasoning, of course, and health bet, even outperforming proprietary models like OpenAI O1 and GPT 4o. And here's why I'm actually reading all this information to you, because I know you guys can read this for yourself, but these models are compatible with our API and are designed to be used within agentic workflows with exceptional instruction following, tool use like web search or Python code execution, and reasoning capabilities, including the ability to adjust the reasoning effort for tasks that don't require complex reasoning and or target very low latency final outputs. So when OpenAI first released their reasoning models, we couldn't see their thoughts, okay? And then they started to unlock that slowly. But now that their open source models can be fully compatible with the Responses API, and it's actually designed with that in mind, that's quite powerful for us. Because yes, most open source models are drop-in replacements, except for when you're using like the proprietary Responses API, like the agents and stuff like that. You can do it, but it's a little bit more trickery to kind of make it work. Even if you're using Ollama, you could still be able to use the GPT OSS models with the Responses API and get stuff happening. So that's technically become a drop-in replacement for the drop-in replacement, if that makes sense. If I've misinterpreted that, then please do correct me in the comments. That'd be awesome. Okay, yep. Activates 5.1 billion parameters per token, and GPT OSS 20B activates 3.6. Okay, that's not too bad. Now, this is interesting. So, Harmony. What is Harmony? So, Harmony is their framework, apparently, that they actually trained this model on. And Ollama had to be specially configured, actually, to actually make sure this is supported. I'll show you here. So, if we go to the Ollama page for GPT OSS, and we click on... Actually, I can show you in here, as a matter of fact. So if we click on this, so you see how that says Q4KM? That is showing that it's quantized to quantization 4KM, right? And that's great, 17.3 gigs on size, no problem. This is MXFP4. Have we seen that before? I'm not sure. I'm sure like people like Fahad Mirza maybe would have spotted this in the past, but I haven't seen that type before. And that is based on their Harmony framework that they've created. And this is designed to see if we can find it here. No. Yeah. So the Harmony response format. So this is how it works, basically. And I'll link all these in the chat actually, so you guys can read this for yourself, because this is quite interesting. This is something new. So have a look at this, because this is the format, or rather framework, that the new GPT OSS models actually use to respond to you. And it's something that I guess we haven't seen before. I'm not too sure, but it is definitely something that's innovative according to them. So I don't fully understand it, because I haven't actually like done my research into this part yet, because we only just got the models yesterday. But from my understanding is that if you have Hugging Face, if you're using it through Hugging Face, Ollama, or VLLM, it's okay, because that will handle the formatting. But if you're building your own inference solution, like your own AI engine, then they've created this wonderful guide here to actually help you build your engine on Harmony, basically, using a Harmony-based framework. And they've created an entire Python package for us here as well, so we can actually start creating our own engines if we really wanted to. Also available in Rust by the looks of things. So that's really cool. And I mean, if this is the beginning of us having to build our own engines now that can power AI models, then that can kind of change the game. We might even see companies like OpenAI popping up now, because they can just create their own proprietary engines that are running off the Harmony response format backend. And that's something that OpenAI has given to us for free. So I guess kudos to them, man. Like, they have been charging us a lot of money so far, and doing some stuff, and everyone has kind of been, hating on them a little bit. But I would like to give them some respect. They have actually saved us here a little bit. That's most of the technical conversation out of the way. Let's actually start using this. So before we start using it, I need to quickly talk about this. What is going on here? Okay, so I don't know. It's very convenient that this happened on the day that GPT OSS released as well. Ollama quietly released this, Turbo. What this does is it allows you to connect to data centers, or data center grade hardware is what they say, but it's most likely a data center. And this is for use in the event of you have a laptop, you have a Raspberry Pi, something that's very low power, and you want to use the best of the best models. Of course you do. Why would you not want to? Rather than signing up to OpenRouter, getting an API key, and then seeing, oh my gosh, okay, right, I have to spend this much for input and this much for getting output. Instead of doing that nonsense, you just pay $20 a month. You get, I'm not going to say unlimited usage, but you do get as much usage as you like, okay? As much usage as you like. There is a fair use policy, right? So they include hourly and daily limits to avoid capacity issues, but they will be bringing in usage-based pricing eventually. So I think while we can take advantage of this, I would suggest do it. To be honest, like I already signed up, $20 a month. It's really not that much in the grand scheme of things for like, you know, the best of the best model usage offline. And it technically it is still offline. Yes, you're connecting to a data center and whatever, but they have explicitly said that they do not retain your data to ensure privacy and security. And look, if a company like Ollama is saying that, I can trust that because it is a fantastic organization. And if it wasn't for them, you know, the whole revolution of open source AI probably wouldn't even exist right now. I'm not sure if you guys know, but like, you know, maybe 10 years ago, Hugging Face was just like a data set library for scientists. You know, people would just put their research papers. It was like a Kaggle, effectively. And now that the whole AI boom's here, like Hugging Face has just transitioned into this incredible company. Now they're buying, like, you know, companies that are building robots now and like doing some amazing stuff. So this is what can happen in a revolution. So yeah, Turbo is a new way to run open models using data center grade hardware. Many new models are too large to fit on widely available GPUs or run very slowly. Ollama Turbo provides a way to run these models while using Ollama's app, CLI, or API. And that's what's even more exciting. So it's available everywhere. So you pay $20, but you can use it in the app. You can use it in web UI. You can use it via API in your app. You know, like suddenly it's just a drop-in replacement again for the drop-in replacement. But it also means that we can leverage, you know, the best of the best hardware and not have to worry about, oh, is my customer's computer going to be able to support this? Which again is quite powerful on its own. So cool. Apparently all hardware is located in the US as well. Not sure how the Aussies are going to take that, but it's in the US at least. Okay, so let's actually start doing some stuff. So I'm going to do a couple of tests. First test I'm going to do is I'm going to get GPT OSS 120B to plan out a website. I'm going to get it to plan a website. And then I'm going to ask Qwen 3 Coder to actually finish the website off or actually build it up. And Qwen 3 obviously is running on my computer locally. I want you to be my web development project manager. You have been tasked to plan a website build for a pitch. That's right. So for a recruitment agency that helps developers get hired, the color scheme is white, black, and gray. You are planned to build so the junior developers who work under you can build the website with ease. The tech stack is HTML and JS. Not going to complicate it. Nice and simple. Let's see how it goes. So recruitment agency called Haps. Recruitment actually sounds pretty good to help. Let's make this more granular. Python get hired. All right, should be good. 3, 2, 1. Let's send the message. And we are now using Turbo. This is how fast it is, by the way. Yeah, try doing that on your computer. But no, on a serious note, this is actually quite cool. You're ready to begin, apparently. So I'm just going to copy all of this and take it into Void. If you don't know what Void is, it's an open source version of Cursor. And so let me see here. Teams and roles. Don't need that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that can be the structure. That's fine. We don't need the deployment steps. Don't need feature enhancements. Okay, cool. So that's good. That's not too bad. So we have an entire plan, perhaps recruitment. Now we're going to give the plan. Just double triple check my MCPs are off as well, just in case it decides to use those. Yep, definitely turn those off. Okay, so build this website. Simple as that. How many lines are we given? About 335. Should be able to read it in one hit. Let's see. Computer's probably going crazy right now. And this is running on my Mac Studio, this model. So we are doing some tunnel trickery to make it happen. Construction. Okay, construction's a really good one. Okay, I'll definitely do construction next. In fact, yeah, we'll actually write the plan for that while we're doing this. So this is how I work, right? I just want to show you guys how I work on a daily basis as well. I get AI to do one task here. I have a chat open here, and then I can get like, you know, something like Bolt, for example, Bolt Local. If you don't know what this is a open source version of Lovable or Bolt or like, you know, like your app builder stuff. I can have an app being built here, do some research here, and then be on my school here, watch YouTube videos here. You know what I mean? This is how we need to be operating in today's time. This is the level of efficiency that people are working on right now, and they're making so much money as a result of it, right? Because of the way they're operating. That's the only reason. They're able to take on these massive projects because AI is doing maybe 60% of the work because they've done the 40% for it already. You know what I mean? Like, you have to do the foundation for the AI to actually do a good job. So if you do that correctly every single time, then you can trust AI to actually go off and do it. You really, really can. Okay, so for a construction company, by the looks of things, but it is still going. It's running healthily, so I'm not overusing my computing power. So that's fine. We'll just let that happen. But okay, so we're a construction company called Haps Construction that helps build their dream homes. Yeah, I think that's good. They'll give us a boilerplate. Okay, decided to give us a boilerplate this time. Look at that. From conception to completion. Turn families' visions into reality. It's not bad. It's not bad. Okay. That's really strange how that's still not going. Maybe it is writing stuff behind the scenes. We just don't know. But good luck and happy coding. Thanks. Thanks, man. So I'm just going to reveal this in File Explorer. And I'm going to create a new folder here called Construction. And then right click here, show more options, open with void. And then I'm going to go plan D. There we go. So we've got the entire plan there. I'm not sure what's happening here. So I'm just going to, yeah. So I can stop there for a second. I'm just going to say hi first to wake it up. Maybe. Always happens on live demos there. Always happens. Perfect. So now it's responding like a normal. Right. So strange. Now you're probably thinking here, why am I not using the turbo version in Void? There's a very good reason for that. So when you go to local providers, at the moment, you can only put in the base URL. And to use Turbo, you need an API key. So you can't actually put the API key anywhere in here yet. And I know what you're probably thinking. I can just use an OpenAI compatible. And I have tried that. It's not supported yet. So because it's not actually an OpenAI compatible system, it's actually an Ollama compatible system. So we're going to have to wait a little bit before, these tools catch up to the new wave of what's going on. But until then, we're going to have to use offline AI for this. Of course, I can switch to Open Router and do that kind of stuff. Yeah, but I guess it's good for you guys to also see, this is what you have to deal with when you're trying to do offline sometimes. Again, I'm not really sure as to why it's actually running so slow. Maybe I'm just going to turn a couple of things off on my Mac. It might help, but I'm only using about 27 gigs out of 32 right now of RAM. So that shouldn't be the issue really. But yeah, I'm going to continue troubleshooting this though. Just give me another 2 minutes. So what I did is I decreased it from 32K to 16K just to see if it's going to perform a little bit on the studio side. Okay, there you go. Very nice. Okay, then actually create the folder properly. That's all right. Sometimes with Void, Void's tool calls sometimes do get malformed. It's not an LLM thing. It's actually a Void thing. They're still working on it, and this is still in beta anyway. You can use client as well if you want to, or RuCode or something like that. But yeah, I just prefer Void because you can see it's creating the files first, then it writes them. It's a little bit backward in that sense. But I'm just gonna help it out here actually. And delete that and create folder called gadgets. Cool. So that's now going to continue. Excellent. Now, while that's doing that, let's create the construction website using Open Router. Yeah, we use normal. Okay, so the website, cool. Obviously, Open Router is going to perform a lot faster, as you can see, but it's still not creating everything correctly. There you go. Now it's created the folder. Excellent. Cool. So now we've got 2 websites being built right now, completely through open source technology and using offline AI. The only difference is that one is hosted in a cloud, but it's still an offline AI model. It's open source. So I'll put these side by side. The one on the right is working on Open Router. The one on the left is working on offline. Both the plans were written using GPT. And actually, while it's doing this, we can actually reset that and go to... Oh, there's actually a free version. Of course there is. Okay. So we'll chuck this on models. Go here. Models, yes. I'll just full screen that for a moment. And then go to Open Router, paste that in. Awesome. Cool. So as you can see, offline AI has already started to kind of go a bit off topic here because it's actually writing the file here. So I'm going to stop that and I'm going to say, cool. Now the files have been created. Build the website. Law firm that helps families sort out their differences. Okay, cool. Should be good. Oh, oops. Haps Construction is not it. Haps Law. Haps Legal. There we go. Starting at Hap Industries here, guys. Cool. So again, it's starting to write the files here, which is not really what we wanted. But OSS. And we're getting it to actually draft some website plans. We're not getting it to write any code just yet. We're getting it to it is actually writing some code here, but it's not supposed to. Anyway, we're getting it just to write the plan for the website. And then we're getting other AI models in the open source world to build those websites based on the plan from GPT. Because this is what I actually see this being used for the most, to be honest. You don't need to use a really large model to create the website. You need to use a large model to create the plan for the website. And do 60% of the work and then 40% the offline model can handle. in theory, which is what we're testing here. So that is what we're going for. Okay, so copy that and open a new folder, go to my code and go to, what is this for? Legal. Cool, legal and plan.md. Cool, we'll double triple check that in a second. Let me just see if we do have GPT OSS. Is that the tool? Oh, I don't think it copied over because we haven't. Okay, that's all right. We'll add that in a sec. Okay, you know what? I'm going to try this with an 8 billion parameter model. Yeah, I just said that. I think we gathered that the Qwen 3 Coda 30 build was not really working out in this case. But what we're going to do is we're going to use where are we here? Close that for a sec. Where is Qwen 3 latest? I think that should be fine. Awesome. So we're going to use Qwen 3 latest. Now, this is a thinking model and it's only an 8 billion parameter model. But because we've increased the context window to 128K, this should not only be faster, but actually perform a lot better as well. So let's see if I'm correct. Right, we're going to cancel that terminal command. Looks like Qwen 3 Coda Open Router is done. So we have a construction website. Obviously no images or anything, but we'll check that out in a moment. And we'll just wait for this to start its process. And full transparency at full chat, like, full context length, 8 billion parameter models on a 32 gig Max Studio uses around 17 gigs of RAM. So you can really run that on the GPU. So we should be fine here. We're just loading the model. We're unloading the model and loading it, as you can see here. So that's great. So that's cool. We'll just let that run and we can start this one here and see how this looks. What? That looks nice. Portfolio doesn't look nice. And this was Open Router, mind you. Open Router did this. Yeah. Contact page looks fine. This index page is really nothing to kind of write home about, though. Okay, interesting. That's cool. We will accept those changes. We'll come back to that because obviously we have we have a few websites happening right now. Okay, cool. So that's happening there. It's doing its thing. Now let's head to the legal side of things and we go to, now we're getting GPT OSS to build this out for us. And, whoops, we're going to open route 20. Cool. Okay. What? Oh, that makes no sense. Okay. So GPT OSS 120B on Open Router just directly refused to do it. And look at the reasoning as well. Look how basic that is, man. Like, but it does the job apparently, but clearly not here. This is not, it's this tree. And it's just, okay. Yeah. That's definitely a fail. And I'm not going to waste credits on this because that's ridiculous. I'm going to do Qwen 3 Coda free. I think I'm really not sure what's going on here, but like these models usually perform really, really well. So what do we got here? We created images, we created a source, created JS. Okay, that needs to be an image directory. That's such a shame. Okay, so the construction one's done. We'll take that out and we'll pop in the legal one instead, see how that's going. So we've created an index.html. Oh, that's not good. Okay, so that must be what happened with the construction one as well. Oh no, I wrote proper code, but here it's not. Yeah, this model is on Open Router. This is not running on my computer right now, and it's still not performing. That's so interesting. Okay, so we got the index. Okay, so we're actually starting to write some stuff here. Creating the files now. That's cool. But what a shame. Still haven't built the recruitment website. We built a construction website. And now we're building a legal website, but it wasn't really ideal. So I'm going to try using this new 4 billion parameter model, because apparently this can think and has a longer context and can do better stuff. So I guess they're trying to rival like an O3 mini or maybe like an O4 mini type of situation, but let's see. I really appreciate your patience here, guys, if you are still watching. I totally understand if you're not. What is going on here? What is that doing? It's a junior project happening. Okay, I'm just going to let that continue. That's a dud. I'm really perplexed that it just GPT OSS on Open Router just outright refuses to write any code. You're gonna write code? Let's code. Oh my. This is ridiculous. Okay. Oh, well, I don't even know what to do now. This has completely backfired. But we had the plans, like the plan for the websites was good, but it's just not creating the websites properly, even with the best of the best models, which doesn't make any sense. If anyone has any suggestions on how we can do this better, that would be really ideal to speak up now. Forever hold your peace on that one. It's a real shame that we can't use Ollama Turbo inside this, but I reckon if we would be able to, that would be fine. But the other thing that we can do is do this. Actually, we can just copy and then pop this into here and then get it to build a website. Oh, that's nice snippets. Okay, so based on this prompt, we're giving it to, yeah, so we're doing component based. Yeah, that's why. Okay, so go to the prompt and then go build a one-page website. Okay, so try one last test. by enabling no thing. Going back to here, and we do have a website ready to go. Looks very basic. It's, yeah. So we're going to have to increase the prompt here and go, that builds modern, but I'll let this run. You've been tasked to build a one-page website, modern, stunning, and exquisite websites that cater to UX principles. Cool. So let's see what this is up to so far. Look, I'm not happy with this because it's not even writing code now. It's just, I don't even know why it's doing that. This is a Qwen 3 coder model, so that's very embarrassing. For those of you who just tuned in, welcome. GPT OSS doesn't work on Void. It does work on built a pretty decent looking website. Oh, it's okay. Like, it's nothing to write home about, but it's fine. So, cater to UX principle. Try that again. Using the Ollama Turbo here, as you can see, it's quite fast. Okay, that's a bit better, because we have a full screen background image if we wanted to. I don't know, what do you guys think? I think it's all right. Like, I mean, nothing to really write home about, is it? Yeah. Like, it's fine, but okay. You want to try with Qwen 3 Coder? Well, maybe not. Am I? Hello? This is running on my Mac. You can see through chat. It's running so fast. No problem at all. But then, yeah, when it comes to these, like, agentic-based tools, it can be a little bit problematic. So the legal website's done, apparently. Let's just give that a quick go. Helping families find fair solutions. That's nice. That looks good. Legal services looks fine. Resources also looks fine, actually. Wow, resources looks absolutely fine. Contact looks fine as well. It's not like, it's nothing to write home about, as I said, but it's okay. It's done a pretty decent job. So we'll accept that, close that. I'm not even writing anything right now. What else we got? What's this? Construction. Oh, the construction. We do have a look at services. Okay. Close. Rubbish. Absolute. Like, that's not even like that's horrible. That's just nothing. I mean, that's a waste of credit for one. So I'm just gonna stop that right there. Credit's still going. Done. This is running on the Mac Studio offline. They're not bad. Quick prototyping can be possible. Oh, wow. I think that looks a lot more professional compared to forms and stuff that work, but that's fine. As a starting point, I think this looks much better than GPT's. And this is a 30 billion parameter model that's achieved this. Not bad. Buttons actually work. Forms actually work. Newsletter doesn't. Oh, it does. It's just written in white. Okay. That's all right. Did one tiny mistake there, but that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Really, really not too bad. Anchor links work. Nice. Cool. I could happily present this to a customer and say, there you go. What do you think? And we're like, that's good. Now, if you take the same model and do OSS on it, actually, I won't be able to break. So maxed out the context. If we manually set and we get Ben here. And this is running offline. This is going on, doing this little thing, running completely offline. Okay, so wow, that looks nice as well. Actually, hello. It's definitely not me. Yeah, right. Not bad. Not a bad attempt from 20 billion parameter model. Okay, 20 billion parameter model. Say that again. I think that's absolutely fine. Now I want to take this to the next level and introduce an 8 billion parameter model, because I want to show you guys that yes, maxing out the context window can also achieve the same results, even with a tiny model. Similar results, if not. This is an 8 billion parameter model. You can see here, 4 gigs in size. If you have like a gaming laptop or something that's got like a, I don't know, like a GTX 1060 or like a 6 gig card or whatever, you should be able to run this model with no problems at all. Even maxed out context window, it will start using the RAM and the CPU as well to kind of compensate, but you'll still experience some pretty decent speeds. And I also want to clarify something on that as well, because a lot of people like are probably thinking, oh, if I'm using processing power, then is it like crypto mining where, I have to use more processing power than I actually have and I'm actually damaging my hardware? Well, no, you're actually not doing anything like that. If anything, you're not using anywhere close to the resourcing power that you actually need if you know what you're doing, obviously. Yes, if you willy-nilly just download a 70 billion parameter model and you've got a 6 gig graphics card, probably not the wisest choice. And you can see here, an 8 billion parameter model has created a website that is semi-decent. Semi-decent. Not bad. It's basic, I will concede, but it's really not too bad. So to get stuff happening quickly, to kind of conceptualize things, to visualize stuff, what it could potentially look like after it's done, it's perfect. Like a small 8 billion parameter model, you can run that on a laptop. So you're pretty much off to the races there. Now let's also try the same test with Gemma 3N, because 3N is designed to work on not just obviously like data centers and everything, but it's actually designed to work on phones. Mobile phones, our smartphones can now run AI, ladies and gentlemen. This is the time that we're living in right now. Pretty crazy. So max that context window in Gemma 3N and let's see how it's going to build. This can run on a mobile phone. This can run on a laptop. This can run on, you can run it on your TV if you really want to, but yeah, this is, complete on edge device, on device AI. And let's see how it's going to perform. I think what we can conclude from the GPT OSS testing is that I think the current infrastructure that we have is just not up to date, or rather, it's not able to use the model at its full capacity. So until we have, that problem resolved, we won't really see any movement in this space, I would say, when it comes to GPT OSS. We have to keep up with the infrastructure now, I guess, in order to ensure that we can. And when I say infrastructure, I really mean on the software side, that this is running on something called Harmony. It's a framework that OpenAI has built, trained this model on. And it's kind of a new framework, although they've been working on it for some time now. And most likely this is what some version of OpenAI's models would be running on already that are closed source. This is still new. And I think on the software side of things, Ollama's kind of caught up with that. Hugging Face has, VLLM has, but like I think the rest of the tools that are using these backends or these wrappers, if you like, they aren't up to date yet. So that's why we can't really utilize GPT OSS to its full potential. But I'm sure the teams behind the scenes are really working hard right now to make sure that support is there, because a lot of people will want to be using this for agentic-based things, multiple different tasks. I can really imagine. There you go, Gemma 3N. Not too bad. Not too bad. It's decent, but obviously it's not perfect. It's okay. Let's go to to-do list app. Nice and easy. Okay. Really putting it through its paces today. How much credits have I got left is another good question. $10. Okay, how much have you used so far? It's not too bad. Who the hell's providing that? 4,000 tokens a second on Cerebras. Yeah, that's fast. Yeah, so it has failed to build a to-do app. See. So let me just copy that. Then see if it can self-correct itself. Look at that. It did self-correct itself. Running into a lot of errors. Come on, GPT OSS. Okay, if it works. There you go. Yeah. I mean, it does work, but I mean, it's not really the best looking, is it? GPT OSS. I mean, what more do you want me to say? And again, shameless plug, but definitely join my open source AI builders club. I keep posting a lot of amazing stuff in here. It's just $10 a month now. But if you are a developer building in the open source AI space, you can get free access as well by clicking on this link. It'll take you to a nice form, and then I will vet you guys. I can approve you guys access immediately. So definitely do consider signing up. We have some amazing courses here as well, as you can see, MCPs, vibe coding, offline voice AI, automations, making money with offline AI. Like there's a lot of stuff that we're covering here, but we need to know the fundamentals first. And we always throw a lot of great ideas in here as well, getting started with and talking about the latest stuff that's happening in the open source AI space. There's a lot of value that I like to provide in this school. So definitely do consider signing up. Really appreciate it. Cool. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.